Good morning, everyone. For today's class, we'll talk about data analysis. No? Actually, if you'll notice, that's the name of this course, data analysis. No? So, though we'll not tackle all the topics now related to data analysis, we'll just have a focus. You'll find out later when we discuss this. Actually, this is our first lesson for this term. You'll find out that this is broad, and also the other lesson, which is about data science. Actually, data science is broader, more general than data analysis, no? But it's broader. But we will tackle this too because so that you're in the context, in the right context. When we discuss the lessons, no, up to the 13th week, because the 14th week is your final exam. You know the position of these lessons in the whole context, no? That's why we're discussing these two general concepts, no, data analysis and data science. However, in this lesson and also in the next lesson, there are other general concepts, no? I think with your background, you can understand them, no? There are also some technical terms. I believe most of you are what? Your course are computer engineering, I mean, what else? Information technology, cybersecurity, and then also information technology, and so on and so forth. Okay. So now, data analysis. Okay, as the phrase implies, no, it's you may think this is about analyzing data. No, yeah, there's truth in it, but it's not the whole thing. No, it's not the whole thing because you have to put it in its context. What will you analyze if there's no data, right? So where will you get the data? So let's go back to the time when we were in high school. Remember in high school, in our science, no, in our science subjects, no, like chemistry, physics, no, biology, we do experiment. But in that activity, right, we have this, like, we start with a question, right? Question, and then what? Hypotheses. What's next? We have materials, methodology. No, this time we call it methodology, but during that time, materials, procedure, and then results, right? Results of your experiment, and the results, that is the data. That's why we can call it gathering data during that time, no? So, and then once you have the data, we analyze, right? So somehow you have that experience of this thing, a data analysis, no? But it's just a small part of it, no? Very, very small part of it. So you analyze data, okay? You analyze the results. Then after that, what do? You make a conclusion, right? To answer your question and to validate your hypothesis. The hypothesis class is after the question, but most of it should be correct, but the hypothesis can also be wrong, no? But in that case, we make it correct because it's already established. We just want to experience, no? The results are already established, no? Already established. We just want to experience that, that's those steps of scientific method. No, those are the steps of scientific method. So we just want to experience them, but the results are already established. That's why your guess is not really guess; it's really correct, no? Because based on your readings also, no. And then all of them are correct because you are in the academy, no. You are in the education, all of them correct. But the steps are following the steps, right? But not yet in the right context yet, no. Of where you will really use those steps, no, of scientific method. When you work already, when you're doing research, no, and usually you do research in college, where you are now, no, in college. Okay, then after the generalization, what do? You stop there, right? You stop there. But in reality, you don't stop there, no. So in science fair, also in high school, if you participated, that's more closer to reality. Right? Because you underwent the steps, no? And you come up with what? Original result, right? Science fair, it's a science fair project, right? You come up with original result, okay? And then what do? you also, di ba, you presented them. Okay, you presented them. But actually, in a classroom, you also do presentation, by the way, So you don't really stop, by the way, because you present it to your teacher. Or I don't know, if you have this experience in the classroom, you present the results to the class as well, I think. No? Okay, so there is also in the classroom. But again, there's more to that, and also in the science fair, there's more to it. No? There you presented, especially if it's a competition, right? If it's a competition, you even present it to the stage, right? Or if not, you just what do you call this? Some visual aids, right? And then there are people who will attend that presentation and just look at your presentation, but you're not really not like talking to a lot of people. No, it depends. No, I think you know what I mean. Huh? Because science fair project is like that. No, okay. So in science fair also, for example, in my case, or let me tell you my experience. No, during my time when I was in high school, so we participated in in the science fair. I think all of us in that school, because I come from I came from a science high school. So that's why that's very important to us. So we obtain original results. No, results. So in our case, our study has to do with like waste material. Then you turn it into a useful product, something like that. So in our case, rice hull class, rice hull. So you know rice hull, right? So the rice, right, before it will become a rice or a white rice, there's a cover which is called the rice hull. So what we did, we converted the rice hull into a glass. So it's kind of surprising, right? How will you convert rice hull into a glass? So we're able to produce a glass, brown glass, just like parang beer bottle. Also a green glass, similar to the Sprite bottle. Also a clear glass, just like the Coca-Cola bottle. Okay, so we're able to produce that. But the thing is, how were we able to do that? Okay, and how were we able to come up with that idea that rice hull can be converted into a glass? Okay, so now I'm telling you, the process, the process of a data of the work of a data scientist, in a way, because data scientists do a data analysis. That's why they are data scientists. So how did we come up with that idea? In our case, it's not observation. There are times observation. Usually observation, a long time ago, right? Based on observation, and then they were able to really come up with a very like a theory or a law, especially in science, right? So in our case, usually readings, based on readings, but it doesn't mean we cannot come up with really like very new discovery. I'm not telling that, but in an education setting, usually we base our research on already established, right? And to do that, we do readings. So that's what we did in our time. Since we don't know what we will do, what waste material. Actually, when we did the readings, we don't know what waste material. We just at the beginning, we just read the journals and everything, and then through reading, I was able to spot that rice hull, no? But I'm not really looking for rice hull. I'm not really looking for rice hull. Sometimes discoveries like that, right? Random, right? Random. But there are discoveries sometimes intentional. Like for example, during this time pandemic, right? The invention of the vaccine, the discovery of the vaccine, intentional because of the problem. Okay, so there's a problem. That's why you discover that. But before you can discover that, you do you gather data also, right? Because there is a problem. Okay, there is a problem. Okay, so in our case, it's in the context of a school setting, of course. Not that we experience a problem. Instead, it's a requirement. No, it's a requirement. It is a requirement. So we did but still there's similarity in reality the processes, the steps, there's similarity, but I think the only difference is the beginning. The beginning, no? Because in the real context, like for example, the pandemic, there's a problem. That's why you're able to discover that that vaccine. Okay. Similarly, for the work of a data scientist. Now, okay, later probably, or maybe next lesson, I'll focus more on that. Then I'll just mention a little about it. No, a little about it, just to just to put the context of this data analysis, this data analysis, so that later when we talk about these general concepts, you will appreciate, no? You will appreciate them. Okay, so going back to my story, so there, so we did a reading. So I was able to find a discussion that rice hull is rich in silica. Rich in silica. So since it's rich in silica, so I want to find out what are the uses of silica. And from there, I found out that silica can be used for glass and other uses. So that's it. That's it already. No? And then the team talk, we talk about it. So we did a lot of research about it. And then, because our research now has to do with how to make, at the beginning, we don't know yet, we don't know yet that we can turn it into glass. So based on that reading, we're able to find out that it can be used, it's rich in silica. And then we found out that silica is used in manufacturing glass. Okay, so that's there. And we found out that they use silica sand in manufacturing a glass, silica sand. Okay, since rice hull is rich in silica, so how can we extract that silica? But not to make it a sand, no? Because there's a difference between a rice hull and sand. Sand is heavy. It's like you're comparing to a cloth, right? So rice hull is amorphous, whereas the amorphous, right? Like it's not compact. It's not like the sand. It's compact. It's heavier. So what happened? So we're able to so we did a lot of readings again. How can we? So our goal is to make it a glass, but how will we do that? And then we found out that there are impurities in the rice hull. It's not really. It's high in silica. However, there are impurities. So how can we increase the silica content? Okay, and then we found out that by burning, you can remove some impurities. So that's what we did. Okay, that's what we did. So just to make the story short, so we ashed it. So as our member did that part, and one of our members also were able to get this rice hull from their province. But I guess again, there's a problem with transport because the rice hull is what? Is amorphous. It's not compact, unlike the sand. The problem with the sand, it's heavier. So since province to Quezon City, right? You have to bring that. But of course, this is only for the project. But if you're thinking of if a company can use it, you also have to think of that, right? If the company can use it. Though we are in the in the educational context, but however, we have that goal also. Better if it can be used in the company. No? So anyway, so we're able. We did the ashing. When you say ashing, from brown it became gray because you ash it. It's like what's this? The rice coffee. Remember, if you want to have a rice coffee, what do you do with the rice? You fry it, diba? You fry it. So it will turn black, but it will not become ash. However, this one we cannot use that because it's a waste, no? So we use the one of our members used the wood, of course, to ash it. So really from brown, black, and then ash. But so we know for a fact that impurities are removed, no? Due to that, that finding that by ashing or by burning, you can reduce the impurities. And then how can we make it a glass? Because that's our goal, to make it a glass. So if it can, decrease the impurities, that means if we have this idea that if you increase the temperature, the purer, right? The higher the silica content it will become. But we don't have that. We don't have that tool or machine to be able to do that. No. So we collaborated with a real company. No, imagine students collaborating with professionals. No. So that's the one that manufacturing the manufacturer glass, no? So glass manufacturer. So I think Republic Glass Corporation that time. So we collaborated, but since we were students, we're not allowed to use their so we just observed. So there is somebody there who who assisted us. I think I don't know if he or she is a scientist. She's wearing a white gown, and then he or she I think she just showed us. We provided the ash, no, the rice hull ash we provided, and then we saw how they put it in the furnace. We call it the furnace, and that furnace have a higher temperature, no. So we need like more than 100, like that 100 degree Celsius and so on, or Fahrenheit. So there, and then we're able to melt. So we have to melt it. So from solid to powdered and then liquid, but that liquid will solidify. So it became glass. Okay. So different colors. Why? Because different temperatures. No. So what I'm saying, class, is we underwent the steps of scientific method, no? But of course, before we can come up with the idea, we did readings. Then we followed the steps in scientific methods. So to come up with this data, no, that we're referring here, the data. But in our case, of course, the data is not large. It's not enormous, no. It's not big data. It's just a small data, no. Whereas in data analysis, no, we're talking of enormous data, analyzing big data and complicated data, structured data, unstructured data. In our case, okay, in our case, or even in your case, when you did like this science fair project or in classroom, we're not dealing with big data. No, we're not dealing with big data. So it's easy to handle. That's why in reality, or even in a company, you deal with big data. That's why there is a need for data analysis of big data, and usually the one who does this work is data scientists. No, that's why we will tackle in the second lesson data science. No, okay. And then in reality class, so once you have the result, no, you present it not to a conference, or if it's a company, to the board of members of the board, or the board of directors, like that, or to your company, to validate, no. But if it's in a conference, so there's like a big audience, and then the experts are there, and if it's fine, if your work is really original, it can be published, no. It can be published, and then a lot can read about them, and then another will do another research work, can use that, no, for a new discovery again. In a company setting, you did that study because there is a problem in the company, no. So you have to do like concept study. So there's a problem, but in a company class, you follow the steps of the scientific method, but they have different terms, no? They have different terms. Like they have this data modeling, no? It's more technical. But if you will look at it, the essence of it is really the steps of the scientific method. That's why it can be called data scientist, no? But we don't, in a company setting or in a professional setting, we don't usually hear this already, the steps of scientific method. Because transition, different context. You're in the school and this one is a company. But if you will look at it, the essence still the steps of the scientific method. So do not forget now. So I'm connecting what you learned before so that you can appreciate the lesson today and the next lesson and the following lessons for this term class. Now, that even though we're studying a specific concept, but it has it's part of a larger context, no? So it's part of a larger context. Okay, enough with that. That's a long introduction. So let's proceed to this general concepts now. Okay, so data analysis, what is that? It's the process of inspecting, cleansing, transforming, and modeling data with the following goals. discovering useful information, informing conclusions, and supporting decision making. Now, so again, you'll notice it's not anymore a classroom, no context, no. But you can identify, no. That's why I made that long introduction so that you will appreciate the technical terms, the general concepts here. For example, the word cleansing. What is that? Because you did not experience that when you did the science fair project or even the in your classroom, no. You did not do the cleansing. What is that cleansing? So remember, your data is big, right? You're not dealing with the small data, especially if it's a here class. We're talking of a real world, no context already, not a classroom setting or a science fair. Though in a science fair, yeah, the motivation there is to produce results that can be used for the society. So somehow there's a kind of reality there, no? Whereas here class, it's really the real world problem, no? Just like the discovery of the vaccine, there's a real world problem. There's this COVID-19 phenomenon, there's a pandemic. Now, in a business context, you also do this because there's a problem. But of course, you don't arrive immediately at data analysis. You have to come up with that problem, concept study, and then like the question, you come up with a question. But of course, they don't have that hypothesis already, no? Though it's a part of a concept study, but they does, I don't know if they still call it a hypothesis, but somehow a temporary answer to the problem, and they have to validate it, no? So this cleansing of data, or cleaning of data class, because it's possible when you gather data, when you collected your data, for example, there are methods. That's why I asked you a while ago if you have background, in statistics and probability, because remember, in statistics and probability, during research, you do the gathering and collecting of data, and there are methods, right, of gathering, collecting data. One of the methods is like, for example, survey, right? What if in your data, that person did not answer a particular question, right? Or answered a wrong answer, something like that. Instead of a number, he wrote it in words, but the instruction is put it in a number form, not a word form. No. So what will you do with the data? So there's like a mismatch data. So you have to clean the data. So there are ways of cleaning the data. If there are like missing data, what will you do? Because if you subject those data in a like a software analytical tool, probably there will be no result because there are like missing data. So how do you clean them? Something like that. Transform and modeling data. No? Modeling data. So here, of course, during high school or in science fair, rarely we hear about this, no? The modeling data, meaning you have to create a model. But in your statistics, no, probability, or even in your mathematics in the modern world, you have this topic about linear and regression. Somehow you have that experience of modeling. In fact, it's a model, no? When you create an equation, remember the correlation, linear regression, correlation, right? There's an equation there that you created, that you arrive at to predict, no? To predict, for prediction. So in a way, that's a model in a form of mathematical equation. And there are other kinds of models, no? Okay, so that's it. The goal is discover useful information, informing conclusion, and supporting decision making. Decision making can be business, no? So anyway, so data analysis, it's the process of evaluating data using analytical and statistical tools. So statistical tools, no? And to discover useful information and in business decision making. So again, it's not just in business, no? So in our term, or in our course, I will focus more on this. But again, data analysis or the data science is not just about this. Okay, that's why we have this introduction. And that's why at the beginning of the term, we have to discuss data science, this general concept, so that when we tackle about the specific concepts, you're not out of place, or you are in the right context now while studying this specific concepts. For now, they are general. So there are 4 data analysis methods. So you have data mining, text analytics, business intelligence, and data visualization. If you look at them, they're very general. But when you watch that, I encourage you to watch that video, not the video in your OC class, because you're in educational context, no? that one, I encourage you to watch that because though it's general also, they did not discuss it in detail. It's just a short video, like a 10 minutes or 11, but at least you know what you can use in your research, no? Specific. So they mentioned they're like methods also, data analysis methods, but it's really different from these four because these are general. Those are like general also, but more specific than this. The quantitative methods, the qualitative method. It's more like more academic setting, those methods. But I'm not saying those methods are not used here in data analysis, but they're just part and parcel of data analysis method. But these are the general ones: the data mining, text analytics, business intelligence, data visualization. However, we'll not discuss this in detail. No, we can just touch them because the course is limited. It's too short to be able to discuss all of this. So just as introduction, or probably if I can insert it to some of the specific concepts that we'll discuss later on or the following weeks, I will do. No? But for now, you can have some ideas what are these methods. No? Now, the other methods, you can watch it in the video. Those methods that you can apply in your research. If before you graduate, you need to do research as a station, at least you know the flow of what you will do. Again, it's still steps of the scientific method. It's just different name. We put a different name to it, no? But still, if you will look at the essence of it, it's just still the steps of scientific methods. Okay, that's why do not forget what you learned in high school. Okay, class. Okay, so let's discuss this one by one. So it's okay if you get if you're curious now, that's good. If you're disturbed because of the technical terms, the general concept, it's also okay. No, it's disturbed in a good sense, no, so that you will explore more. No, not during only our virtual class, but also in your online class. Okay, so now let's tackle one by one. So not in detail class, just an idea. So data mining, it's a method of data analysis for discovering patterns in large data sets. So again, large, right? Using methods of statistics, artificial, okay, that's something new, right? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and databases. That's why I told you it's more general, because probably when you talk of data analysis, you're just associating it with like statistics. No, there's more to it. No, there's more to it. The artificial intelligence, the machine learning. I guess you know already what's artificial intelligence. Example of that is the robot, right? No, the chat bot. No, for example, when you visit a website, there's something there like automatic. It's not sometimes it's not really a person asking you. It's a bot, no, robot, chat. We call it the chat bot, no. So that part is an application of artificial intelligence, no, automatic, no, automatic. You're not really talking to a human, but it's behaving like a human. Okay, it's behaving like a human. Okay, so that's actually our goal in the artificial intelligence. We want to create an algorithm or a program wherein it can imitate the human. Okay. That's why it's closely related to a robot. Okay, machine learning is also artificial intelligence. Ano? And then we have databases. Okay, the goal is to transform raw data into understandable business information. Excuse me. Excuse me. Again, business, ano? The focus is again business. No? But again, it's not only about business. It's not always. In fact, in the discovery of vaccine, you know, it's not because, yeah, part and parcel, it affects the business, right? But not only the business, right? It's all aspects of our society are affected by this pandemic, right? Not only the business, the society, the family, the community, and so on and so forth, and other industries. Okay, just to focus that it's not all about business, okay? And to understandable business information. In your case, for research, right? For your research. Because for your research, you can do this, the data mining. Okay, in your research. Okay. And then this might include identifying groups of data records known as cluster analysis, or identifying anomalies and dependencies between data groups. So again, cluster analysis class is another concept. No? Because once you have a data, you want to put it, it's like you want to classify your data. You create clusters, no? You get the teams, then you create clusters. No, again, this is not our no. If you want to explore more on this, you can do a research. But what we're saying, it's related to data mining, no? Okay. It's the process of deriving useful information. Now, I'm sorry. So this is the next one. Text analytics. So as the phrase implies, text. So this one, your data is textual. So probably you get it from the ano. Again, remember it's when you analyze data, data should come from something, right? From somewhere. No. So just to give an idea, this can come from what? The messages in the Viber or in the FB. But again, it depends no, on your study. As I mentioned in the introduction, on how you will choose these messages no? And how you will get these messages. Because there's privacy, right? So probably you will ask permission of the owner of that that account, that you can take a screenshot so that you can make a study out of this. So it depends, no? Because you have to consider also that the discussion in that space. No? But again, it all boils down to your question, no? Regarding the data that you will gather. But what I'm saying is the form of the data that we will have here, we can get it from there. No? I don't want to go into the details of that now, just to give you an idea that we can get this textual data from. Example of that is from the Viber, from the Twitter, and also from the survey class also. Because remember, survey, sometimes you will answer some questions in text. Okay, in text. So there you have a question. However, in the Viber, it's more unstructured, right? Because it's random. Right? It's random. There's no like question or survey that you gave to them, right? There's like a discussion, so it's more of unstructured. Unlike the survey, it's structured because you give the question and they give the answer. So it's more structured. That's why later we'll talk about data structures. But again, in general, not in detail class, no? Not in large detail. So it's the process of deriving useful information from text. And how do you accomplish that? It's mentioned unstructured. Processing unstructured textual information. Okay, because you got it from where? Not from a survey. It's more of like from as I mentioned, FB, Viber, and so on. And extract meaningful indices from the information. Okay, so meaning this one you have to organize now because it's unstructured. You have to organize your data so that you can subject it to some algorithms processes later on. So okay, so that you can analyze them. Because if you don't do that, you just read them, right? You just read them, and then what will you do? That's why it's data analysis. You have to analyze them. So there are processes to undergo. No? You have to let those the information, text information, to undergo some processes. Okay, but again, I cannot go into the detail. That's the idea. So another is you can accomplish it, make the information available to statistical. So that's it, and machine learning algorithms for further processing. In our case, only this part we will do statistical, no, for this term. But but we're letting you know that there's more to it. There's that machine learning algorithms. Okay, though we will talk about algorithms in this term, so probably I can touch, okay, a part on this one for further processing. So anyway, so that's text analytics. The next one is business intelligence. Transforms data into actionable intelligence for business purposes. Okay, again, business, but again, it's not the whole thing. No? Transforms data into actionable intelligence. Okay, so it's not the whole thing. So may be used in our organization's strategic and tactical business decision making. However, since this is business intelligence, so that's why the focus is really business. No? So if you want to use this method, so your data has to do with business. No? Okay, that's why you use this method. Okay, so offers a way for people to examine trends from collected data, derive insights from it. So for example, in a company, no, so usually a company is a business. So there's this new product, no, or you want to create a product, but you want to know if it will be profitable, right? So you'd make a survey. So survey is one way to collect data, right? And then you examine the trends from the collected data, the results of the data. So it's a way of analyzing, right? One way is to examine, and you derive insights from it through data analysis. So there are methods to apply. Okay. So one method from the statistics is for example, regression, linear regression, right? So you want to know the relationship between two variables, something like that. And those two variables are factors in your company. Okay, the company. Okay, so That's very general. So probably when we talk about that, I think we have a topic on linear regression. You can be more specific, okay? But that's the idea. Because if I continue discussing, it might prolong the discussion if I go into the details. So anyway, another one is data visualization. Refers very simply to the visual representation. That's why visualization makes data more understandable and usable. Because if it's visual, it's more understandable and usable. So how do you present data visually? You can use the tools of statistics, probability, pivot tables, other artifacts. Examples, just the first one. In the statistics, very common, right? The pie graph, the pictograph, those things. Double bar graph, okay? We can interpret those, right? So that's one way of analyzing your data. Not only to present, but to analyze them also, right? Okay, in the context of data analysis. Okay, so next is, yeah, that ends the lesson. So those are the four methods class of data analysis. So that ends the lesson for this week. Thank you for attending. Bye for now.